When you hear the nickname the Robocop,
Just waiting to opportune himself. That big left hand.
you're not thinking of a regular fighter.
Groundwork here in terms of softening him up.
You're talking about a demolition machine.
Coming across from Soldic.
A man programmed to destroy with a single left hand. Roberto Soldic doesn't fight.
The right and the left.
He executes. Every time he steps into the cage, it's like starting a countdown. Someone's going to fall. With a style that combines surgical precision, raw power, and absolute cold-bloodedness, this Bosnian colossus has earned global respect through knockouts. Since breaking into the European scene, his rise has been a spectacle of destruction. Now get comfortable, because what you're about to witness isn't just a fighter, it's a force of nature in human form. But before that, make sure to subscribe. The story of Roberto Soldic begins in Bosnia and Herzegovina, where the young man was shaped by the harshness of life and the desire to excel. He started out practicing judo, but it was in boxing that he showed a unique ferocity. Soon he combined it with MMA, and there was born an animal unlike any other. At the age of 19, he made his professional debut, and his hunger for glory led him to dominate local circuits in Europe with a brutal completion rate. In each fight, he showed a maturity strange for his age, choosing the right moment to throw that crushing blow. Long before he lit up entire stadiums with viral knockouts and became a feared name globally, Roberto Soldic was already leaving a trail of chaos in every league he stepped into. One of the most explosive demonstrations of that unstoppable rise occurred in Superior FC 16, where he faced the strong German Dominik Schober. At the time, Soldic wasn't yet a superstar. But within the European MMA community, there was already a rumor that there was a Bosnian southpaw who was knocking out everything that moved. And that night was no exception. From the first moment, Robocop took over the center of the cage with an unsettling confidence. With a calculated rhythm, he threw a couple of jabs to mark territory, and then thunder came. A quick combination of right to body followed by a left to face connected clean. Schober hesitated, and Soldic didn't forgive him. One more cross-court left finished the job, causing the German to collapse against the canvas. The audience was speechless. It was a quick, resounding victory and an unmistakable sign that Soldic was ready for the major leagues. Not only did he win, he did it with the kind of violence that leaves a mark. The imprint that many saw in his explosion that came in KSW 41, where he faced the experienced Boris Mankowski for the welterweight title. Nobody expected him as a favorite. He was young, a foreigner, and unknown to many Polish fans. But from the first exchange, it was clear that this would not be a routine defense for Mankowski. Soldic entered the octagon like an uncontrollable storm, with dizzying combinations, constant pressure, and a cardio that seemed to have no end. He undermined the champion blow by blow.
Ta prawa ręka musi być ta wątroba, a troszeczkę szarpnięta. Ośni i znów stara się uderzyć tą lewą ręką. Ale chcemy czegoś więcej. Boli ta wątroba i na to musi uważać. Nie wdawać się w bijatykę.
Every fist he threw was a hammer. In the third round, after a brutal sequence, the referee stopped the punishment.
Jest taka, że są jeszcze dwie następne rundy. To nie było przerwanie.
Soldic raised his arms and the stadium fell silent. A new dominant force had been born. The real test came at KSW 45, when he faced Dricus du Plessis, a talented, explosive South African and future UFC contender. It was a battle of power, nerves, and determination. Soldic seemed to be in control, connecting with his classic left on several occasions.
Athleticism from these fighters and no lack of power. And just look at...
But du Plessis resisted, counterattacked, and did not retreat.
Point
Has Duplessis got
Little steps, standing very flat, ready to deliver power. He's rocked him, Will. He's rocked him.
In an unexpected twist, the South African found the right moment and landed a punch that shut down Soldic. It was absolute silence. The man who seemed invincible had been arrested.
Soldic again, looking for that left. Oh, he got rocked.
That came from nowhere. Duplessis in there. It's all over. Roberto Soldic knocked down, knocked out. The champion.
But that setback was not a fall. It was the fuel for an epic revenge. At KSW 49, the rematch felt like a duel of honor. This time, Soldic left no room for doubt. From the first second, he showed a steely mettle and a confidence that bordered on the supernatural. His punches were more calculated, his dodges more precise, and his gaze, that of a focused killer.
Tank full, has to keep cruise control, but left, right, both legs of Duplessis are being peppered here. Soldic knows shots before, and you could see the math being worked out in Soldic's brain in the last round.
In the third round, the left roared again. An accurate shot to the chin that knocked Duplessis down like a concrete tower. It was a silent revenge, without exaggerated celebrations. Only the firm gaze of a man who came to collect his own, and he did so with brutal elegance.
Just waiting to opportune himself, that big left hand. Oh, and that was a left hook that finished everything. It's all over. It's another.
In KSW 50, the opponent was Michal Pietrzak, a strong fighter with good fight and proven resistance. From the start, it was clear that Pietrzak was not coming to give anything away. He tried to cut the rhythm, take the fight to the ground, and thwart Soldic's boxing.
And throws in a lot of hench behind those. Quick knockout early, but he is a heavy hitter. And once those hands hit,
But Robocop demonstrated admirable tactical maturity. He kept his distance with jabs and low kicks, controlled the cage, and punished every takedown attempt.
constantly causing problems. And Soldic just really wants to get in there and do some damage quick. Those hands are heavy and they're hard, and he's landed the left there, straight in and straight out. A shorter, more accurate.
It was a chess battle where every move had a purpose. There was no knockout, but a resounding victory by unanimous decision, which made it clear that Soldic was not only brute force, he was pure intelligence under pressure. And then came the controlled chaos in KSW 56, one of the most viral chapters of his career. In front of him, Michal Materla, local idol and former middleweight champion. The atmosphere was electric. The Polish public roared in favor of his legend. But Soldic did not flinch. As soon as the bell rang, it advanced like a missile. With surgical coldness, he began to dismantle Materla with quick, sharp blows. Each connection shook the stadium, until in the blink of an eye, a gust of fire ended the fight. A deceptive jab, followed by a straight to the face, and Materla collapsed. The roar turned to shock. Soldic didn't celebrate like a rookie. He just put his hands down, knowing that he had done the inevitable. To close this chain of destruction, Soldic faced Patrick Kinkle at KSW 63. Kinkle was technical, disciplined, and was on a roll. The duel began very cautiously, both measuring distances. But it didn't take long for Soldic to find his rhythm.
A do tego jest potrzebne zwycięstwo.
He began to cut angles, play with feints, and punish with blows to the body.
Kolejny na tego typu akcje Patrick Kins. Dobry tego pięcia płytkę. I po raz kolejny podprowadzenie.
Kinsel backed away, but he couldn't avoid the impact. In the third round, Roberto threw an uppercut that went in like a missile through the guard.
Daje middle kicka Patrick Kins, ale ponownie w misji destrukcyjnej. Oddaje.
It was a precise, brutal detonation that left Kinkle collapsed and unconscious. The image of that ending went all over the internet. Another name on the list of victims of the dreaded Robocop. Before becoming the official nightmare of KSW and the international threat that shakes one championship, Roberto Soldic was forging his legend by pure fire in less mediatic events. But just as dangerous, one of those defining moments occurred at Superior FC 18, a German promoter where warriors are not looking for fame, but for respect. Soldic faced Des Parker, a brave Englishman who arrived with a good streak and full confidence. But as soon as the cage closed, everything changed. Soldic came out with an intensity that froze the blood. There was no trial run. There was no study. He went straight to the center, marking the distance with his iron jab.
Good experience.
And in a matter of seconds, he hit a left cross that hit with such violence that Parker fell as if his nervous system had been turned off. The referee ran to stop him, and the German crowd gasped. It was one of those endings that do not require repetition to understand the magnitude. Roberto had arrived, and it did not last 3 rounds.
Needs to get away from the kid. Good left kick. And that will Parker to probably be it. Roberto Soldic is still the...
And if anyone still doubted his ability to destroy any opponent, Soldic took it upon himself to remove doubts on CW87 when he faced the Englishman Louis Long, a veteran with good fighting, strong punch, and plenty of experience in the European cages. But that night in Wales, Long discovered something that would change his career, that Robocop doesn't hit like a normal human. From the first exchange, Soldic made his intention clear. Calculated movements, controlled breathing, and a left ready to explode.
Both what occasions, probably ideally suited to a 165-pound division.
In just the first round, Soldic unleashed a combination that ended with a brutal left cross that hit directly in the face. Long fell backwards, motionless, staring blankly. The referee threw himself on top of him to stop the penalty. It was a clean, lethal, and devastating execution. That night, cage warriors understood that they were facing a different phenomenon.
And Long has got to be very careful about... Oh, you think it's over! Unbelievable! Oh my goodness!
But the best of his arsenal was seen years later, in one of the most iconic moments of European MMA, KSW 65, the legendary clash between Mamed Khalidov and Roberto Soldic, billed as one of the biggest super fights in the organization's history. The fight pitted the biggest legend on the Polish circuit against the new machine of destruction. The atmosphere was electric, a mixture of respect, attention, and latent danger.
Szuka odpowiedniej okazji. Jest pierwszy raz lewica rzucona. Te ciosy muszą naprawdę ważyć mnóstwo tego.
In the first round, both measured strength, testing each other with feints and feints, while the audience held their breath.
Organizacji KSW. Szukała głowy Soldic. Wszystkie kopięcie jedna, dlatego też chcemy zabrać na pewno więcej tchu. To możemy się spodziewać, że...
But in the second round came the catharsis. Khalidov lowered his guard slightly after throwing a kick, and Soldic read it like a sniper. A monumental left, straight to the face, shook the soul of the arena. Maimed fell deactivated, unconscious before hitting the ground. It was a dry knockout of high violence, one of those that are repeated over and over again on the internet. The celebration was contained, with Soldic simply raising his arms as the world absorbed what had just occurred. That night, he didn't just beat a legend, he replaced it. And just when it seemed like we'd seen it all, came his latest act of absolute power on the international stage. 1171, Qatar. An event full of expectations, with global spotlights and thousands of eyes waiting for the most lethal version of Robocop. His opponent, a tough contender with solid cardio and good endurance. But Soldic was not impressed. From the first second, he pressed like a hungry predator, using his jab as a metronome and setting the stage with low kicks. In the second round, after dodging an attempted counterattack, he threw a hook to the liver that paralyzed the opponent, and leaving no room to breathe, he finished off with a straight left to the jaw that shook even the cameras. The body fell as if the wires had been cut. The crowd roared. It was a demonstration that no matter what continent he is on, Roberto Soldic is a constant. He enters, destroys, and leaves.
Over the top to this welterweight. On top of the circle.
Roberto Soldic is not just a striker. He is a storm compacted in human form. Its aggressive style, combat intelligence, and ability to produce unforgettable moments make it a gem of modern MMA. From his wars in KSW to his big moments in one championship, he has proven that no matter where he fights, he will always leave an indelible impression on the fans. Thank you for joining us on this explosive journey through the career of Roberto Soldic, the new threat shaking MMA worldwide. If you like stories of fighters with enormous power and warrior soul, this channel is for you. Subscribe, like, and tell us in the comments which was the Soldic knockout that impacted you the most. See you in the next round.